many nights and many days I toiled away at my creation. Yet though I could get it to walk, it did so with a terrible limp. The joints were feeble, and the shoulders and legs would break often. Shattered PLA crumbled through my hands, and I thought to myself, will my robot dog ever walk correctly? Did I even have what it took to make robots? Would I ever be able to compete with Boston Dynamics to create the best dog, the goodest boy? I finally threw in the towel and shelved the project. There on my shelf, my creation sat for many moons, until one day I realized the servos, they aren't even all the same. This was kind of making the robot impossible to calibrate. In short, I realized I was being dumb. I had overlooked this because I had gotten these servos used from a friend, and I had assumed they were all the same because they all had the same size, a fatal assumption that caused me many weeks of pain. I overlooked some key factors in the two types of servos I got. Anyhow, I figured if I swapped out the servos, the robot would work a lot better. But before I did that, I decided I would reprint a better body for the robot because one of the biggest problems the robot faced was consistently wrecking its shoulders by slamming its legs into the ground at high speed. In my original few iterations of the design, the shoulder broke on every single one of the legs. While a normal person would have designed some sort of shock absorber or something, I came up with a truly novel alternative innovation. I reprinted the shoulder and made it extra thick. This came with the added benefit of me not needing to do as much work. After that, I bought a few of the correct servos and swapped them for the bad servos. There were 3 bad servos in total, and 2 were in the same leg. This was probably why the walking I had before was so lopsided. I programmed the walking using a method I like to call inverse kinematics by trial and error. Basically, it goes something like this. I look where I want the legs to be, and I adjust the servo angles incrementally in order to get it there. Advanced stuff, I know. This allowed the robot to walk in a way that almost wasn't completely terrible. Because the servos were all the same now, I was also able to unify the walking configurations. Before I needed to configure each leg individually, but now I only needed to configure one leg, and I was able to pretty much copy and paste the configuration onto each of the other legs, with some basic modifications to flip and rotate the configurations, of course. Finally, I decided to add some extra functionalities to the robot, like some ultrasonic sensors to allow the robot to see with sound.
I don't see like you do. I release a sonic wave from my mouth.
Since the robot is controlled by an NVIDIA Jetson Nano, I decided to control these ultrasonic sensors using a Raspberry Pi Pico, because these sensors have precise timing requirements that are more difficult to achieve on a computer running Linux, like the Jetson, than it is on a microcontroller like the Pico. I also 3D printed a bit of a hat so that the robot doesn't spill its guts everywhere. Now the robot can walk pretty well, and it can even back up and change direction if it sees something, most of the time.